Alrighty, we're just going to stand up to start off with. Warm up the pelvis in particular. Open up the diaphragm so we can get good, deep, full breaths. Do a little bit of connection with the pelvic floor and then come on down. I've been noticing, talking to people recently, how stiff everyone is feeling around this area and adductors. Too much sitting. So we're going to do something about that today. So I'm going to get you to slide yourself down into a sort of a goddess stance. Now, we always want to make sure that toes aren't too far out. Yeah, so about a 45-degree angle. Slide your weight into your heels. So your toes could come up. You're weighted down through those heels. Your bum is right behind you and your sitting bones are wide. So you've got nice wide sitting bones stretching out in a V shape here behind you. If you had a tail, your tail would be nice and pleasant all the way back behind you. Let's do a deep breath in. Lift the hands, breathing out. And as you breathe in, visualize your rib cage spreading out to the sides so that we can create a nice widening outwards. We want to get the diaphragm working as we breathe. Sorry, my hands chop off. Nice deep breath in. We'll just dive these first through. Few breaths out. Like that. So loosen your lower jaw away from your upper jaw as you exhale. That's it. Now push the floor away with your heels as you come up. So we're not rounding the back, so none of this. Your back's not moving, your legs are moving, your bum is moving. I want you to push the ground away in order for you to come up. That's it. Keep the torso straight. And one more. Beautiful, quick lateral stretch. Always want to laterally stretch your spine daily. Really important for spine health. Stop us from shrinking as we age. Getting in these lateral stretches. Let's just pause on the side. Slow it down. Shoulder away from ears. So always keeping ear and shoulder away from each other rather than that. Keeping that kind of nice length there. Just tip the head slightly. Take your hand down. Few breaths here, just opening up, scalings, pulling out through the fingertips. That's the way. Now launch all the way up and over. Whole side body stretch. So we go into the hips here. That's it. Fingertip stretching, toe stretching. Lovely. So we want to get into the fascia just underneath the skin surface. Keep sliding down with your heels heavy in the ground. Legs should be sort of starting to burn now. Ear and shoulder away from each other. Slide the hand down. Keep the air lifting up towards the ceiling. As you slide your breath out of you, see if you can drop your fingers a little bit further. And then we're going to come up and over whole side body stretch. Very good. And then slowly come back down. Come a little bit further up with your legs and just swish the arms. Now you're going to turn your head with the swishing movement. You want to keep the base of the shoulder blades at the back sliding down your back. So just make sure there's none of this kind of rounding. We want to be nice and straight with the torso. And keep your spine lengthened upwards. So all the nerves of the body attach into the spine. When we do this kind of movement, we improve our breathing. We start to loosen up tight diaphragms. We start to enable a bit of movement through the shoulders. And we also kind of wake up the nervous system. It's great also for waist toning as well. Like so. Now let's make it a bit more purposeful. So bend the knees, open the palms, stretch your fingers out, and make this a little bit stronger, like so. So we start to get a little bit of waist activation here. Beautiful. Now we're going to go into a discus throwing movement. So remember when you're at primary school and you throw a discus, you go throw the discus, watch the discus go a long way, and then come down. So then throw the discus, and then come down. So chuck it away, and then come down. Slight back bend. That's it. Down with your hand, and then up with your hand. Down, up. Good. Breathing out, and then breathe in. Nice deep breath in. Ha. Breathing in. Breathe out. Ha. Breathe in. Ha. Good. And one more on each side. Lovely. Just tapping the upper back. So this is getting a bit more movement through the thoracic spine. So from your bra strap upwards, loosening this area. Oh. Very good. Okay, let's lift those shoulders, slide them down the back. Lift them, slide them down the back. Lift them and then slide them down the back and leave them there. Keep your toes straight forward, soften your knees. Now we're focusing on the pelvic floor. So on your breath in, kind of see if you can expand outwards. So push down and out with your feet slightly, expand outwards. Imagine your sitting bones are widening, your pubic bones coming forward, and your tailbone is going backwards. So that diamond shape of the pelvic floor is receiving the breath and opening up. And you want to feel like you could just about go for a wee. So your pelvic floor muscles are relaxed. You're not pushing down, but you're just kind of softening. And the easiest way I can describe it, if you imagine your around the anus is kind of flowering outwards. Everything's opening, that's your breath in. Now on the breath out, we're going to start doing the activation breath, pursing the lips, chin is in, blowing out as if you're blowing out through a straw. On the breath out, I want you to feel like you're gathering up the four corners of that diamond shape. You want to feel like you're stopping yourself weeing and stopping yourself passing wind at the same time. And you're drawing those muscles in and up. And then we breathe in again and we relax them, and you relax around the anus. You feel like you're about to go for a wee, not quite. And then again. Now, see if you can push your heels into the ground as you breathe out and come up just a little bit. So there's a tiny bit of movement here. And then relaxing. So some people like to imagine that there's a little egg, like a tiny little pigeon egg at the vagina opening. And on the breath out, you're sucking the egg upwards. And then on the breath in, you're laying an egg. Yeah, so like a chicken laying an egg. So you're breathing out, going upwards, breathing in, laying, relaxing, relaxing. This is the important bit. So let's see if we can make the movement with the legs now a tiny bit more exaggerated. You're pushing down with your heels as you come up, and then let everything soften down. So you're pushing down with the heels as you draw upwards, and then relaxing down. So we also did the visualization. Imagine there's a tissue box there. And as you breathe out, we're picking up a tissue with the vaginal muscles. And then as you breathe in, you're just letting the tissue go. So you're drawing in and up. And then relaxing. Really important to do the relaxation. Good. Maybe do this with your hands as well, just to help. That's it. And then, so breathing out. And then breathing and softening. So imagine around the anus, maybe the flower is closing and then opening up. And then opening up. Okay, so once we've got that pattern going, we're going to forget about doing a release for the moment. We're going to go straight into some squats. Okay, so same action, just a little bit deeper. Bum now slides back behind you. Knees stay on top of ankles. So don't come too far down, because otherwise you'll end up rounding your back. Just a little bit here. Have your hands here. Imagine you've got a ball in your hands as if you are about to throw the ball into the basket, which is just up there. And so the action is straight up with the arms, and the torso stays absolutely straight like this, but in an angle. So I'm in a zigzag. To create the zigzag, drop down. We breathe out. We close the anus, so stop that flowering, bring it in, and then drop back. Just allow the sitting bones to widen, anus relaxes. Coming up and relax. Now what you don't want to do is push the pelvis forward. So keep your tail heavy behind you. I like to imagine it's a kangaroo tail from the sacrum, dropping down and back, big heavy tail. And as we come up, we're doing a very potent activation through the pelvic floor muscles here. So amping up a normal Kegel by about 40-something%. We've got to relax those sitting bones wide as you come down. And then feel the activation through the heels of your feet, pushing into the ground. And then lifting up through the back of your legs and into your bum muscles, your gluteal muscles, as you come up. Okay, so if this is newish to you, keep going with this. You're sliding your hands up as you take your whole torso up in order to also get into the deep transverse abdominal muscles, the multifidi muscles at the back of your core. If you've been doing this for a while, let's make it harder. I want you to step outwards, step inwards, step outwards. So you're blowing out as you come up. And then the other side. Keep your toes facing forward. One more on this side. Back onto the other side. Okay, so if you start to lose the coordination, go back to your regular squat. So now, whoo, that's it. Fantastic. Take the arms down. Let's release all that. Take your weight into one leg. Bring yourself up onto your big toe edge. You can't be here, you need to be here. Bend the knee out to the side. Yeah, and then bring the knee in. Take the arms across opposite, and then back. So basically doing the Elvis twist, I call this. We are releasing these hip flexors and the big rotator muscles around the hip joint. We're also going into adduction. So this helps us to make sure the bum muscles don't kind of get too tight. We want strong bum muscles, not tight muscles. We're also just releasing right up into the pelvic floor. So little twist. Give it a little bit of welly because this is a great toner for the waist as well. And fantastic for your brain because we're cross-patterning. I do that on the other side. So weight on this leg, up on my toes, big toe edge, big toe on the ground, softening this knee, drawing the knee in, yeah, and then out. Drawing the knee in, out. So do that. And then next time you draw the knee in, pause there, take the arms opposite. Yeah, and then as you take the knee out, take the hands opposite. That's it. Like a train, starting to make it a little bit more groovy as you need some music going, don't we? This is one of those things that's really, really good. It's so basic and simple once you get it. Great for your brain, incredibly good for your whole pelvic area. If you can start to get into the habit of doing this and just a pelvic twirl on a daily basis, I always say, put the kettle on and then do this for 2 minutes and you'll be doing something really, really good for your long-term pelvic health. So we'll go into that and then pelvis swirling. Let's just take the hands on the hips. Imagine you've got a hula hoop around your waist and you've got to keep the hula hoop going around. Good. Again, once you've got the hang of this, you can make it groovy, you can make it more potent. Bend the knees, extend the hips right around. Maybe even take the arms up, shoulders away from me as always, so that we can open up this area here, improve our lung capacity. Good. That's it. Beautiful. And the other direction. Let's take the arms out to the side this time. Thumbs up, little fingers down. Shoulder blades towards each other at the back. So I'm squeezing my shoulder blades together to make the muscles between those shoulders, the rhomboids, activate. This helps us with our posture, stops those shoulders rolling forward. Well done. Good. Again, give everything a rinse. Rinse, 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 rinse. I'm going to come down onto the ground. So come down via malasana. You might need to take a bit of height under your heels. So what I tend to do is roll up the edge of the mat for this. So I'll do it this, probably that way, so that there's a bit of height under heels. Yeah, see how my feet, you don't want to have your toes right out, about there. So if you feel as you come down into the squat, Melissa is a squat like that, your knees drop in, try putting a bit of height under your heels. You can always hold onto a chair as well, or the back of the sofa. So holding onto something, we want to keep the torso straight. I'm just going to grab a chair so you guys can see me how I do this in the chair. Now, if your hips are super tight, you might need to literally put something under your bum to start off with until you start to open up in this area a bit more. So if that's the case, just use what you've got to use. No pride here. We just need to make sure that we start to improve flexibility. You can also hold onto the chair like so. I sometimes also encourage people to hold onto the door frame, so like the handles on the other side of the door, so you're holding onto the door as you come down. So basically, same thing as when we were doing our big squats. Imaginary tail dropping down and back behind you. We don't want this. So some people go, oh, I can squat, and they do that. That's putting a huge amount of pressure on your pelvic floor, exacerbating prolapse. If you've got a bit of prolapse, we want to make sure the tail is back, sitting bones are wide, pubic bone facing the ground, lower belly facing the ground, chest open, shoulders sliding down. And you want to, wherever you are, hands pushing knees out, or maybe forearms pushing knees out, opening their thighs. If you're coming down into a full malasana, elbows, pressing the knees apart and hands together. Or holding on for dear life if this is you. So wherever you're at, it should be a stretch but comfortable. If it's like, oh my life, please come up, because your muscles will only tense. If you go too far too quickly, your muscles will tense up and not open up. Yeah, so come to wherever you can comfortably go, where it feels like, oh, I can feel this adductor and a thigh stretch. I can feel the stretch around here. And we want to loosen the jaw here as well. Relax the breath. Good. Okay, so come down onto your mats now. Since I've got the chair here, I'm going to use it. And put my hands on the chair and just drop the pelvis back. So if you haven't got a chair, either hands are on your bolster, on bricks, or just on the ground. We're just doing an extended child pose, lengthening the vertebra of the spine, opening up the back of the pelvis. So wherever your hands go, this is what we're looking for. Opening up here. Good. Okay. Give your hands a swirl. Wrist massaging swirl. Maybe even pouring at the mat here. I always check in with wrists, because I found that wrists, shoulders, ankles, knees, hips, all the major joints, once we start to lose our estrogen, they can quickly stiffen up. We need to make sure the synovial fluid in the joints stays lubricated, so we want to move these guys. Okay, so we're going to take the pelvis back, opening up the sitting bones. The sitting bones are wide behind us. Use your activation breath, so you're blowing out of a straw. Chin is in, yeah, so give yourself a bit of a double chin. Don't drop your head, just keep your spine in one big long line. And as you blow your breath out, draw yourself forward, shoulders just above fingers. and we want to zip up here. So the sensation through your lower belly is as if it's being sucked upwards, not backwards, but upwards towards your rib cage. And then you breathe in and you let your belly be nice and relaxed, your bum spreading apart. So you breathe out, zipping up tight high-waisted jeans. Breathe in, pause. Breathing out for activation. Breathing in for pause. That's it. Now, if you've been doing this for a while and you want to make it harder, breathing out, we can launch into a plank and then come back down again. Always coming forward like this first with the breath out, because we need to activate pelvic floor muscles before our deep core muscles, lifting everything up, not just straight back, tummy button to spine. We need to go from pelvic floor upwards before we put this extra bit of pressure down through the intra-abdominal pressure down through the pelvic floor. So safely here, and then maybe into a plank. If you're new to this, staying here until you get the hang of it. This is great strengthening to the upper body as well. Okay, let's make this a little bit harder without actually going to plank. Let's make this a little bit harder. Give your wrists a rinse. And then put your fists on the mat, directly underneath your shoulders. Arms go out to the side slightly, so you're like an ape, like that. Okay, so tuck toes. Now, bring your chin back. I want you to imagine the ceiling has just dropped down off the ceiling, and the ceiling is resting on your back. Yeah, so you need to push your spine into the ceiling, push the back of the head into the ceiling to keep the ceiling from smashing onto the ground. Good. Now, draw the base of your rib cage slightly in and up. And see if you can get that same sucking in and up sensation that we got when we were doing that. See if you can do that now yourself. Keep breathing out as if you're breathing out through a straw. You can make it little puffy breaths. So it keeps your diaphragm high, keeps your pelvic floor high. And then start to push your fists into the mat. So you slightly straighten your arms, not locking them, but just straightening them up. And see if you can suck your knees even a millimeter just off the ground. So this is making that activation, a deep core activation from pelvic floor. Deep core is your deep transverse abdominal muscles, the multifidi extensor muscles at the back. Shoulders, make sure they're away from your ears, so we're not doing any of this. Right back. Good. Drop those knees. Slide the knees apart. So when you go back into that inner thigh stretch, take your chest down onto the mat like that. And then let's try and activate as well by taking your elbows wide, hands up towards the ceiling as if you're praying. And as you breathe out now, we're just relaxing the jaw. Sigh the breath out, sink the chest to the ground, shoulders are away from your ears. You kind of like, I like to say it's like a water boatman, yeah, so one of those little insects that sit on top of the surface of the water. You want to spread out the front of your body into the ground. And maybe even taking the arms out. That's okay on your shoulders. Some people are not good on shoulders, so if this is okay on shoulders, great. If it doesn't feel good, either forearms together. We'll go back to the praying, hands towards the ceiling. Very good. Slide yourself up onto knees again. Now, come onto your forearms, shoulders again, away from your ears. Can you see how that happens easily? Draw them right back, away from your ears. Draw the ribcage in. Now, what I'm going to get you to do is bring your knees together towards each other, not squished together, but just closer. Pull the elbows now towards your knees and your knees towards your elbows. So you're kind of pulling the mat underneath the forearms towards your knees. Can you see, can you feel how this goes up? That's what we're looking for. Shoulders away from ears though. Now bring your knees a bit closer together. Push your left chin into the ground. Keep active as if you're pulling the knee forward and take your right foot up towards the ceiling. Now you want to keep your knee bum height, and it doesn't do anything if you're here. And we don't want to be all nonsense here. Just keep your knee in a line. You see my leg is in the same line as my torso. So here, I'm just isolating my right glute, my right bum muscle, and I'm squeezing it, tiny little micro squeezes in order to kick the ceiling away with my heel. So tiny little squeezes here, isolating gluteus maximus. So the strength of our bum muscles directly affects the activation ability of pelvic floor muscles. And strengthen these guys. Woo. Now let's take that foot out. See if you can squeeze the glute as well and the back of the leg, the hamstring, to lift the toe. Squeeze the glute. Squeeze the glute. Squeeze the glute. Now take the foot in towards your bottom, like that. Come up on your right hand. Cock your leg out to the side as if you are a dog weighing against a tree. And then see if you can take your knee up and forward. Now I know this is a horrible movement for many people. Again, lubricating the hip joint, the big rotating muscles around the hip joint. So just like when we were doing the standing twist, it's a similar thing. We're abducting here. That's the way. Now, either staying with this, or if you're a glutton for punishment, keep your knee up like that, kick your foot out to the side, give me a couple of little pulses with little toe edge going up towards the ceiling. I know it feels horrible. You're like, what? Drop that foot down towards the ground, toes straight forward, and then press your foot so it's chin here to the ceiling. Press your foot so it's straight forward, and then sink your bum back. So now we're opening up all of the back of the leg. So you can take this arm, yeah? Okay, so if this is fine, you've done it before, make it harder by threading the needle. If you haven't done that before, stick with the legs, don't worry about the arms. This is an extra. Chin is in, resting on the ground, pretzeling the body, just so we can get a twist through the thoracic spine as well. This is more of an advanced twist because we're doing lots of things together. So this is scrambling your brain right now. Don't worry about this bit, just worry about this bit. Good. Give that leg a shake. Woo! Come onto the other side. So back onto the forearms. Knees and elbows pulling together. So just this here, if you're doing this right, you should be able to feel real activation here. This is pretty strong. I'm going to make it harder by taking that left foot up towards the ceiling. Can you see my foot is quite flexed here? So I'm opening my toes, heel is straight up, toes are drawing down. Now pull the elbows and the knees towards each other. Give your glute a little squeeze. Kick the ceiling away. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. The hip bones at the front of the pelvis are evenly facing the ground. Yeah, so we don't want to be all skew-iff. Let's see if we can straighten that leg. Squeeze the glute. Squeeze into the back of the leg. Every time you breathe out and you squeeze and you lift, we're also activating the pelvic floor muscles. So this is way more potent than just doing Kegels on their own. Well done. Take the foot to your bottom. Draw the knee out to the side. Come up onto that left hand. Big circles forward. So we want to release now. Remember, every time we've done big activation, we then need to release. Muscle fibers need to stay elastic, so we need to open them, lengthen them. So do that as well. Ooh, right out to the side, kick it. Give me a few of these if you're the game. This is one of my worst ones. I've done like this. Woo! It's right down the outside. Drop it onto the ground. Little toe edge pushing into the ground. Slide your bum back. So now we're going all the way up the back of the leg, outside of the leg, into the glutes. If you're feeling pretzely, take this left arm underneath the right arm. Chin is in. Outside of the head, resting on the ground. You might even raise that arm or elbow. Good, sinking backwards. But like I said before, if this is quite new to you, just focus on opening up the inner thigh. If this feels too strong coming down, you bring yourself up. Well done. Good, good, good. Let's get down to our backs. Have your bolster close by or your pillow, whatever you're using. Oh dear, that was good. Let's put our feet directly underneath our knees, toes forward. So we have just done some pretty powerful activation through the glutes and through the pelvic floor. Let's see how it's all working together. Push the heels into the ground. As you push the heels into the ground, put your hands on your bum and just see if you can feel a bit of activation there. Then keep pushing the feet into the ground so it all comes from the feet. Come up a little bit higher. Keep patting. See how those guys are working. If it's all right here, keep pushing feet into the ground a little bit higher and then draw the shoulders towards each other under your body. Keep those heels pressing into the ground. Now send your knees away from you. So it feels like you're sliding your knees to the opposite wall. So we open the out the front of the pelvis, giving a bit of a stretch into the quadriceps. Then we're bringing the shoulders underneath towards each other. If you can easily interlace your hands, do that. Press hands and forearms into the ground. If that doesn't feel good on your shoulders, just palms downwards. So you've got a bit of activation through your hands here. Breathing. Opening up with the breath. Nice deep full inhalations through the back of the nostrils. Good. And then slide your shoulders apart and peel your back down one vertebra at a time. So you're kind of sliding the vertebra down into the ground. Oh, good. Bring the knees into the chest. That's the way. And just give yourself a rock from side to side across your sacrum, back of the pelvis. Good. Well done, well done. That's great. So what we want to do is make sure, if we can, on a daily basis, we don't need to do a full practice like this, but that we do go into all of the major joints of the body and just give them a little bit of a lubrication. Motion is lotion. So I always say little and often, little and often is the way to go. If you want to age healthily, you want things to stay working, you just need to give the whole body a bit of love on a daily basis. Let's just take the pelvis up now. You drop it onto whatever prop you've got. Give yourself a little bit of movement here. So I like to have a tilt. So a bit, we're not quite in that position that we were doing before. I've got a little bit of a tilt now. So my lower back is getting a tiny stretch. This feels quite nice in the lower back. Ah, good. Now in this position, the organs of our pelvis, so the bladder, the bowel, the uterus, if we've still got a uterus, they're all dropping away from the pelvic floor. So pelvic floor muscles that are hypertonic, which means a bit tense, a bit too overactive, have an opportunity just to go, oh, good, I can stop working. You're not going to wee in this position. So let's just drop the knees out to the side. Open up the inner thigh muscles, they attach into the pelvic floor. So when they're tight, we tend to also get a reactive pelvic floor. It increases urgency, bladder irritation, urge incontinence, constipation, just discomfort, often itchiness, feelings of recurrent UTIs. So having an opportunity just to let everything release is super important. Let's bring the right knee slightly up here. So take your foot off the ground. Keep letting your left knee drop out to the side. So we're in half baby pose here with a bit of height in the pelvis. Breathing in and then sigh the breath out, loose jaw. Now, some of you I know, because of eye issues, glaucoma, and I don't think anyone's got glaucoma, but you know, dry eyes, eye issues. You don't want to spend too much time in, even this is a slight inversion. So maybe a few breaths and then come down, or just even a blanket underneath the pelvis. So there's a little bit of height, but not too much. Okay, let's keep sliding. So if you're here and you're feeling all right, slide the feet a little bit further away. We go a little bit more now into the psoas muscle, the hip flexor. The main hip flexor is the psoas. A little bit more release here. And if it feels okay, keep sliding foot bit by bit, inching bit by bit away. And I like to take the hand above the head as well. So if this feels comfortable on your shoulder, up above the head too. Softening with the breath. If it feels fine here, then start to pull fingers and toes further apart. So we actually go into a deep stretch. Yeah, so going to your edge, you're not pushing, it's simply a lengthening. That's the way. And then allow that side just to slowly draw back, come back into, it's like a cobbler pose, but upside down. Feet apart. Keep the left knee up, right toe drop down towards the ground. So this is a pretty big stretch as it is. So this might be where you stay. If it feels all right, you just inch those toes a little bit further away from us. And maybe taking the hand above the head if that feels all right. Slow full breath in and then sighing the breath out. And as you sigh the breath out, that's when we want to see if we can melt the body a little bit more. Softening. Imagine the muscle fibers just softening. So I keep hearing of people who have got urgency issues, yeah, so more of an overactive bladder and indicative of tightness around this area, being told just to do more Kegels. And it's really important that we understand that if muscle fibers are not elastic, if they've not been able to go to their full length, they can't then properly contract. So if you've got muscle fibers that are all tight like this, and you just do more tightening on top of that, the ability of those muscles to actually function properly just diminishes, and we just get worse issues of prolapse symptoms, of urgency, etc. So we need to do this kind of opening, releasing, softening, lengthening, rehydration of muscle fibers in order to be able to get the strengthening as well. So let's give ourselves a full body stretch. Oh, very good. And then taking those legs up towards the ceiling. You might want to just rub the back of the legs for a moment, get into those hamstrings. I like to turn the toes out, heels together, just to get into the outside of the legs as well. And then take the arms up towards the ceiling. So let the weight of your arms drop into the shoulders, back of the shoulders sinking into the ground. Helps us with our posture. Open the chest, release the jaw, nice soft jaw here. Enjoy the weight of your legs just dropping into your pelvis. So feel that spreading of the back of the pelvis with the weight of the legs. Give your hands and your feet a little massage around ankle joints, wrists, other way. And then see if you can jiggle your toes and your fingers and then your wrists and your ankles. Yeah, jiggle, jiggle, jiggle. And then vibrate down through your calves and into your knees. So see if you can just get everything is shake. And then see if you can jiggle your thighs as well and jiggle your upper arms. So you just want all of the fleshy bits to be jelly jiggling around. And jiggle your jaw. Start doing a little bit of a seems silly, but it's fabulous for your nervous system. If there is any tension there, it's going to be jiggled away. One more long breath out. You're going to feel fabulous afterwards. And drop. Now, I don't know about you, but I loved that, because can you notice now, just underneath the skin surface, this tingly sensation through your body? So that is your chi, your life force. You just open up all the nadi channels, the energy channels. We've got 72,000 apparently in our bodies. And that vibration, tingly feeling is really healthy. It's good. You're getting blood flow through the body. We're opening up like knotted areas. Just take a few long, soft breaths here. It's absorbing that sensation under the skin surface. Noticing the sensation of the rise and fall of your belly as you breathe. I always like to take a moment to mentally say to the body when we're absorbing our practice, thank you. So just mentally, almost like you're kissing the body all over, and you're just saying thank you, or giving your body a hug. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you is like a mantra, a word that just holds a lot of positive vibrational energy. That energy of gratitude is incredibly powerful. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's place the hands together. Take the hands in that namaste, that pressed palms, salutation, taking the hands onto the third eye point and onto the lips, and then onto the heart center. Very good. I'm going to get you just to slide yourself down. Roll your knees in. Give yourself a little hug here. If it feels okay, rocking up and down your spine. If that doesn't feel good on your spine, roll to one side into the fetal position and then slowly press yourself up. If this is all right on your spine, then it's a lovely reboot. Rock and roll, rock and roll. All the way up. Take your head, take your shoulders, roll them around. Unwind the tight rope. Oh, that's it. One direction, other direction. And then what you want to do is move your head and place it so that you find that sweet spot where your head is perfectly balanced on top of your neck, on top of your shoulders. There's no tilting forward, there's no lifting. Feels like there's nice length between your ears and your shoulders. Shoulders just kind of dropping down the sockets. Just take a moment to feel this nice long spine right up through your neck, through the crown of your head, all the way down again. You can imagine you're just attaching a string to the crown of your head and a string to the ridge of the back of your head. And those strings are just going to keep you lifted for the rest of the day. Your body, like a puppet, is just kind of draping off those strings. So nice and relaxed.